Hello and good day, ladies and gentlemen. Konzi here, bringing you episode 6 of Kenshi Age of Blood and Sand. Lidus is fighting 4 noble guards at the moment, so we're going to need to get out the stormhouse as quickly as possible so I can use my Adachi to try and even the playing field. As when fighting inside, Lidus will be using his katana, which is going to be terrible against the samurai plate, so when I get outside I can use my Adachi. That's got that extra bit of blunt damage, which is going to help cut through their armour. As soon as we were able to gauge outside, that fight was pretty much over. So we're just going to go loot them, see what they've got. They've got a few nice weapons, but unfortunately Lidus cannot carry them at the moment, and I'm quite happy with the Adachi he's got. And I'm sure that some of you have noticed that piece made it from that skimmer, which is quite good going. What we're going to do is we're going to just group the Hivers together into the bar, because this is going to be the safest place for them at the moment. And yet again, Lidus just ruining Slavers' Day. Would say I feel bad, but I really don't. And I guess they kind of had it coming. Silly slavers. Now this could be a nice pickup. Killing off the Noble of Eye Socket will annoy just about everyone that we're trading with at the moment. But he's a slaver, so he has to die. Looks like we do have Eye Socket pretty much secure and purged of the slavers. Just going to have a little quick look around, see if we haven't missed any hives, because more hives right now are always going to be more useful, and just get the last of the kit that I think is going to be worth taking. Then we'll head back to the way station to meet up with the rest of the hives. But whilst I'm at it, might as well take one of these slavers with me. It will at least be good strength training on the way. It'll be a slow journey, but then I'm not too worried about anything in this area taking Lidus down. Gonna need a quick check over my hives, make sure they aren't too mashed up. Obviously I've got one that's in bad shape, so to say, but I think it is now time to start working on the tower. So I'll get my engineers set, send them to the shop, start getting the building materials and start getting that tower together, because like I said in the earlier episodes, if we can get that tower up, there should be enough room to start some basic manufacturing, and hopefully this shop here will be able to provide us enough resources to keep it going. If it can't, not a massive issue, I can always send runners out to get supplies from other places, which would be a little bit annoying. Not a massive issue because the hives are quite quick, so they'll be able to run backwards and forwards to various places to get the supplies. Also means if I need to head down to Black Scratch, I can get blueprints there so we can produce better equipment over time, which I think is actually a decent trade-off. However, I'm reluctant to start a actual colony in this playthrough. I feel that colonies make the game a little bit too easy, because once you start being able to produce everything and there's no limits on what you can produce, you end up just scaling too quick. Yes, you have the trade-off of being attacked, but once you survive the first like 28 days of having your own place, it's not an issue because your guys are pretty strong. They can fight the standard attacks coming in, and then the big attacks only get triggered once you do key events in the game. So I think this playthrough we're gonna try to limit ourselves not to have a base. That might change later on, but right now I'm going to see how far we can get just from the supplies we can get from towns and being limited by the building space what we have, because this means we're going to get quite creative and it should be an interesting challenge to add on. Not gonna lie, it looks like I missed Lidus taking a bit of a kicking, so maybe I was wrong about him being fine and nothing being able to take him down. I guess he might have got attacked by an Oni, which would have been able to defeat Lidus pretty easily with the equipment that he has. Mind you, that being said, if it was the Onis that beat him, it would have been the end of Lidus' story, because there's no way I would have been able to get Lidus back from the Onis. Lidus wouldn't have been able to escape either, and the Onis are hard as nails, and there's so many of them. I'm not going to spoil anything, but possibly in this playthrough we might cross paths with them, and then you will see that they are just a nightmare to deal with. They can make any other faction in the game look like a bunch of putty cats. But the plan now is going to be real nice and simple. We're just going to rest Lidus up so he recovers from his injury, so he can move a bit quicker, because going into the Black Desert City and into just the Black Desert itself is going to be quite dangerous. So we're going to want to make sure that we're either going to be able to outrun what's attacking us or to be able to fend it off. What we'll do is we'll just sort out Lidus's inventory. So I'll create him some space, so when he goes to get the prosthetic limbs, he's going to be able to have more of them, because doing a Hiver playthrough, you're never going to have too many spare robotic limbs, because Hiver's limbs just pop off like pogs. So having a spare supply of them is always going to be super useful, because Hivers will just lose limbs for like silly reasons. If you're not paying attention to them for a few minutes and they run into even something like starving bandits, you can end up with a quad amputee so long as they don't bleed out. But then the flip side is it means that you can wear different armor types, and so you could choose an armor type that has really good chest protection but limited arm protection. But this would keep the Hiver alive, and worst case scenario, they take a bit of a kicking. All you need to do is put them onto robotics bed, heal their arms back up, and then they're back into the fight. So Lidus is now on his way to the Black Desert City, and I have to say, I have such a love-hate relationship for this place. Like, sometimes it's absolutely beautiful, or it's this dark, dank, dreary quagmire of a biome that is pretty much in the middle of the map, so you have to pass through it. And some of the enemies in this area are pretty strong. I mean, it's not the toughest biome in the game, but it is one of the earlier ones, I think. And if you don't know how to deal with the acid, like, you're just going to run into so many issues. Thankfully, Hivers are immune to it, so are robots and animals, so I won't have much issues from the acid. But the creatures in the Black Desert can be quite dangerous, and especially with the Age of Blood and Sand and some of the add-ons that they've put in. Like, the Mecha Leviathan is an absolute abomination. Like, you take a normal Leviathan, that's pretty tough, you know, one of the end game enemies. But this thing is a lot stronger, it's tougher, it does more damage, it attacks quicker. Also, it's a robot, so you try and use katanas for their bleed damage against it, doesn't work. And they can just really wreck your day if you're not ready. But they have like pretty decent loot on them, which is good. So we've made it to the scrap house in what is a uncharacteristically uneventful journey through the Black Desert. We'll see if Quinn's got anything that we want to buy. At the moment, I don't think there is, but I'm interested to see if there have been any new updates to the weapon dismemberment mod. So see if they've been added in, that could be quite interesting. But at the moment it's largely pretty basic stuff, like you got in your Dachi, your scissor sword, axe of the key, Swinder, crack saber. Got some other interesting things, so you've got like your scorpion gear, and then he's got like broken AI cores, engineering research, ancient science books which kind of be inspected. He's got an impact pile which might be good against robots, well it is going to be good against robots. A falling sun, folding sword, those sort of things. Nothing really that we're after at the moment, but still good to check in just in case. Despite how tempted I am to loot the stuff from Quinn, I think what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to wait so we don't fill our inventory, so I can go and get more of the robotic parts that we need for the Hivers, because right now that's going to be the most important thing. Because the Hivers can still work without a weapon, but the Hivers can't work without their limbs. Well, they can, but not sufficiently. And also depends on what limb's missing. But having my Hivers with the limbs is going to be more important than equipping them with weapons, because I'm going to be able to produce weapons pretty quickly, and a lot of them are going to be just slightly lower quality than the weapon that Quinn is selling. So what we're going to do is we'll get Lidus to the bar, get him rested up, so we'll put him on the robotics bench so his robotic arm is healed up. This will make the lock picking and the thieving a lot easier, because he won't have the negative effect from his arm being damaged. So we should be able to get in nice and quick, find what we want, loot it, and then get out. But I'm not gonna lie, it's not that it's going to be difficult to do, because it's a Kenshi mechanic and it's quite easy to abuse. But I'm not going to be able to run away from the skellies, I don't think. So I reckon they're going to be able to run me down, and that's going to be a bit of an issue. Quick tip right here, always check the vendor before you loot them. This way you know what you're going to be able to find in the boxes. If you're not finding anything good in the trader's inventory, there is no point going in and trying to loot the shop if you're not getting what you want or what you want to sell. Little side note, if you look to the top left of the screen, that is the Mecha Leviathan outside. Okay, so what the plan here is going to be is I want those dread legs that I saw. I believe it was 3 left masterwork legs, which are most likely going to be in the safe. So the safe's the most likely place that will get rumbled. So if we just check the other barrels, make sure they're not in there. So like this one, we've got specialist, 3 specialists, 2 right, 1 left skelly arm, which I will come back for. We'll get the safe. There we go. 4 left dread legs, and one of them is only specialist. So we'll take the 3 good ones, because you're most likely to lose a left arm and a left leg, so having those is going to be super useful. Okay, so we got an industrial lifter arm, a high grade, which is going to be fairly alright, and a left high grade scout leg, which is also good. We'll go back now, grab the skelly arms, which yet again always going to be super useful. And what I'll do is I'll leave 1 slot open for when we go downstairs, just in case there's something else that we want, like another arm. And have a little look around. We'll go through the chests and the boxes, but I don't think there's going to be anything particularly good downstairs. Most of the good stuff's upstairs, which I guess makes sense, because then it's harder to take. But yeah, just garbage down here so far. But we got some barrels in the back, we'll head towards those, and hopefully there's something to fill the final slot. Okay, so we have 2 specialist spider arms, security spider arms, so we'll take one of those. It's not a great robotic limb, has to be said. Nice buff to strength, not something I really am too worried about at the moment. It's too early in the game to get the proper boost from it, and yet again too early in the game to be using it, because if I use it now, it's going to handicap my Hiver strength leveling up. Because the way leveling your stats work is, if your stat is at a lower level, obviously it levels up quicker, but you can artificially change these levels with equipment. So if you want your guy to improve quicker, obviously if you can get their stats lower, a lower stat takes less XP, so therefore levels up quicker, and then you just de-equip that equipment that you're using to train yourself up, and you've improved a lot more than otherwise. And then it works in reverse. So say if you had a base strength of 40, and then you use something that gives you an extra 50% strength, so your strength is at 60, when you're leveling up, the computer will register the level up as if you're level 60 going up. So taking the hit 2 levels is pretty good. I don't think I'm going to be able to outrun these guys, and the other side is I can fight them and I could take them out, that's not an issue, but I didn't see who the barkeep was, so I don't know if he's one of those skellies. And the other side is I don't want to annoy the skeletons, because they're the best limb manufacturers in the game, so I'm going to need to go back at later points to get some more stuff. I'll just use this as an opportunity to level up Lidus' blocking, because the skellies are a fairly high level, so I'm going to get more XP from it. And we can see Lidus' stats here. He is improving quite nicely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll need to bring this episode to an end. Thank you for watching episode 6 of Kenshi Age of Blood and Sand. I have been your host Konzi, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. As always, have a good day and have a good evening.
Killing me softly, I have to choose. Should I leave or should I stay with you? I am addicted, we are too close. One more day and I'll overdose. Killing me softly, I gotta choose. Keep my life or lose myself in you. I'm so addicted, it has to end. But why do I keep holding your hand? I am stuck and I am hypnotized. Visions of you come and stay the entire night. My mind is blurry.